All right, that about does it for Hamman Time today. Go out and live your life. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. We'll see you tomorrow between 8 and 10. I need to get out of here. MadMoneyMike has been begging me to scrub my feet for the past week and a half, and finally, I've reluctantly allowed him to do it. So let me go warm up the water and dip them toes in Mad Money's bath.
The 25-year-old Cape Town-born DJ is one of the station's rising stars. As with his first gig on campus radio, the appeal of his 8 to 10 morning show is about substance with style. He studied politics, philosophy, he's a drummer, DJ, reads prolifically, and it all combines to make him someone you want to listen to.
You guys have come full circle. I mean, this is where the journey began.
It's pretty surreal being back here. I mean, this is the room that I used to host my show in. This is the room that Michael used to shout at me in because he was my boss when everything started. But it feels good and healthy to go back to your roots.
Mike, this is where you and Nick met. How's your relationship grown over the years?
Nick was spectacular when he came here. From the get-go, I knew, okay, cool, there's something we need to sort of nurture and grow here. It was less than 6 months, I think, and he was doing a drive time show. And I think a lot of the guys here now kind of still see Nick as someone that, if you really want to push yourself and if you've got the talent and you put in the hard work, you can do it.
You guys have some cool topics on your show. The other day you were asking your listeners, what are some of the items they cherish the most? But what I want to know is, what are some of yours?
Well, nostalgia has always been a big part of our show because we, as individuals, are both very nostalgic people, and we often like to share the story of where we came from personally and then encourage other people to do the same thing. The topic we had recently was, what item do you cherish the most in life? One guy told us about how he has a hard drive that has photos on it, which are some of the only memories he has left of some family members, to people who still carry the first beer can their father ever gave them. And when I thought about it myself, I actually bought something with today. This over here is an MTN Radio Award. It's the first one that I ever won in 2012, and it's the first award I ever got in radio. So the man who actually ended up judging this category, Best Campus Drive Show, was also at the time the program manager of 5FM, a man by the name of Tim's uncle. And after hearing me there, he gave me a call, and sometime later I ended up with my dream job.
So mine's a bit of a different take to my memorabilia. I think if it comes to something that's kind of helped me through any times, and from as early as I can remember, I've had this little guy with me since I was born, basically. It was my mom's just before. And yeah, wherever I stay, it's there, and it's kind of helped through tough times, good times. When you bring anyone over, they always love to see that you got a cute little bear. It's always a plus.
Nick's radio content looks set to make him a classic in his field. His ideas are of his own design, so we laid on a ride befitting such an original.
Jen, seeing that we're taking it way back, I think it's fitting that we roll around in this beautiful classic. What do you think?
This is beautiful. It's a lot nicer than the cars we drive now, I'll tell you that much.
It's awesome.
Quentin, what's happening, man? You're going to take us through the specs of this car.
This is a 1958 Jaguar Mark 8. This car was manufactured only between 1956 and 1958, and there were only about 6,000 of them made.
I don't know about you, but I'm always interested to see what's under the hood.
Let's pop that thing open.
Pop the hood, man!
This is a 3.4 litre straight 6 Jaguar motor, capable of producing 170 brake horsepower and a top speed of 190 k's an hour.
I'm guessing it's quite heavy on fuel.
It is very heavy on fuel, but funny enough, this car actually won an economy run in Australia in 1958. These particular cars were also used for rallying, believe it or not, and Rowan Atkinson actually had a similar model that he raced around in the UK.
Can we test it out?
Sure, definitely. But before we do, I've got a little gift for you guys, something a little bit more suitable for the car.
To be a class act, you need to start young and build a repertoire. As an entertainer, Nick was already a jazz drummer, playing in clubs at the age of 14. At 16, he started jamming with bands on the indie scene. He began moving between hip-hop, house, rock and punk, arriving at university as quite a polished act.
Stellenbosch for me was like the first of so many things in life. I had my first girlfriend here, I had my first failed course here, got my first job here. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world, and there we are stuck in Johannesburg making radio every day.
Well, that's where it all started. I mean, radio, the love for it was right here. And Stellenbosch has so many special memories for me, for Nick, and I couldn't imagine anywhere else.
Speaking of firsts, Michael was also my first boss, and I remember when I met him, I was really nervous. I thought that he was going to be a strict, discipline, and I think he was in the beginning. I was intimidated by him, and it's really weird to think that we work together now because I put so much value and emphasis into impressing him, which is probably what helped me get good as quickly as I did as well.
In the music field, Nick is a versatile producer and DJ with a decade of experience. Whatever the venue, performing comes naturally, and he found a creative way to incorporate live elements into his set. With pads, controllers, and live drumming, he became as popular at student gigs as beer and pizza.
You guys come up with some fantastic ideas, but how exactly do you come up with your content?
The best part about what we do is when the listeners get involved. They love it. They send voice notes to the Hammer Time hotline daily, and it's great to be a part of their lives as much as they are a part of ours with what we do on air.
Some company sent us a gift recently, and in that gift packet was a little laser, which is like the worst thing you can send a 12-year-old or MadMoneyMike. He's basically acting like and he's trying to shine it in my eyes, and he thinks that it's funny. But you know what, Michael? It's not funny, because next thing you know, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a serious injury I'm not going to be able to see, which might actually heighten my other senses now that I think about it.
The biggest adventure to date was when the guys found themselves on the R101 between Auckland Park and Polokwane.
One of those fantastic ideas was the Polokwane walk.
5FM came to us and they said, we want you to create hype around a big party we were having in Polokwane. So I jokingly was like, Mike, let's walk there. We were both laughing and joking and laughing, and then we were on the road. And we started walking, and it was 2 weeks, about 25 kilometers a day, waking up at 6 in the morning. It's the most intense working environment that you could ever imagine two people being in. We got lost one day, which was Mike's fault, 100%. We met, though, this is the beautiful side of it, so many South Africans on the way, slept in treetop tents, camped off on the side of the road, and we would have people who would drive 120, 150, 200 kilometers sometimes just to bring us water or beer or just, even once we had a guy who came just to say hi, and that's what made the whole thing so incredible for us. We felt like Forrest Gump.
For the listeners, I think, for them it was about following a journey with two people that they sort of got to care about. And in terms of like the time that it was over the 2 weeks, I think at the end of it, a lot of people still come up to us to this day and say like, we loved that walk. Did you walk that far? How much did you do every day? Like, how do you still like each other? Don't you hate each other? They were very involved, and I think for them, for those 2 weeks, that was their own little story that they got involved in.
Well, you guys know that South Africa loves you and you have a lot of fans, but what can they expect from you in the future?
We just want to continue doing what we love, and we honestly believe that if we do that every day, people are going to continue to love us and our audience is going to continue to grow.
That it will, especially in a few weeks' time when they release their latest theme song featuring The Plastics, Majozi, Raven, Grassy Spark, and Mr. Jack Parrow himself. You heard it here.